Hey, today I'm installing my Chase-based power steering kit on my 350Z. This kit from Chase-based is a very nicely put together kit, very high quality lines and fittings and baffles. Like the quality of this stuff is the same things you'll find on IndyCar and NASCARs and other high-end race cars. The reservoir is designed to help with aeration and spillovers. Really, it's too much high pressure from going high RPMs trying to go back through the line, and it's kind of making kind of bubble up, which I'm not smart enough to explain all that to you. This is not a paid or sponsored product, by the way. So for a far better explanation, go to the website and read the description. It's very thorough. I have noticed my reservoir doing it, kind of bubbling over. So let's replace it. So of course we get to do the fun part of removing everything. Here is the factory reservoir, which goes down to the power steering pump, conveniently right there on top. So that's pretty good. But if you follow the other line, it goes down into the front of the bumper and it goes to this ugly oil cooler, which there is a option when you buy it to add a Chase-based cooler as well. But since this car is still mostly stockish, I'm not going too hard on it. Like, I'm not doing FT level of drifting. I'll probably just try it out without it, see how it does. But if you're building a pro level build and plan on being super hard on it and get high temps, definitely get a cooler for it as well. But from the cooler, it goes to the power steering rack, which is down there somewhere. Okay, we gotta go find it. I haven't done this before, and there isn't very many good videos on how to do it. That's why I wanted to make this video. But I'm gonna take the bumper off to make getting to the cooler a lot easier. Then we're gonna have to jack the car up. That way we can get to the bottom of the steering rack. Hey, I got my front bumper off, I got my under tray off, and I got that wheel off. It's one of those things, it's probably kind of hard to show you some of it because it's kind of buried underneath the car, but I'll try my best. The other line, this fat line, goes from the power steering pump and it goes back past the motor mount. See these two skinny lines, or fat one, a slightly skinny one? These are your power steering lines, so you follow those down to the driver's side. You follow those two lines and eventually plug into the power steering pump where the knuckle is. You see the steering wheel shaft, what goes into the power steering. Yeah, I know the car is very dirty. There's a lot of dirt and mud. I've tried to clean it. It's hard to clean underneath there and underneath my bumper. So I'd probably hose it off before I put the bumper and stuff back on. But once I start taking things off and just kind of following it, you have a better understand of where it goes. So I'm going to start doing that. Start off with probably the cooler. That way I can let it drain out into a bucket.
It's so good to see your face. How's your mom and are you okay? I've changed so much and so have you. I'm so sorry it's been so long.
One eternity later.
Jesus Christ, this one was a pain in the ass. Still leaking. Okay, I managed to get all the lines out without cutting anything, even though I was very tempted to do, especially where the lines go past the passenger side motor mount. Very tight on it though. I wanted to keep everything intact in case I wanted to sell it, or if I ever had to go back to it. It's all in one piece. So essentially, just start taking everything apart as much as you can. If there's a 10 mil or a bracket or a hose clamp, just take it off. There's a lot of places where there's a clamp and separate as much as you can and start fishing things out. Next to the motor mount itself, there's like 2 10 mils in there that's hard to get to. Hopefully you have like a bendy ratchet wrench to get to those two. There's a clamp on top of the rack and pinion itself. That one's not too bad. Went ahead and took the driver's side wheel out to make it a little bit easier to get to the 2 ports that go into the power steering rack. It's definitely easier from out here. One was a 17 and one was a 14. Once you have all that disconnected, then the fun part is fishing it back out. I fished it out towards the front. I think it was the easier way. And where the high pressure line is by the subframe, I did have to bend this a little bit by hand to slide it through. Then slowly fish it out the front. Even though I drained everything, it still leaked all over the place. I don't think you can do this without making a mess. So bring towels, cardboard, or whatever you have to do. Hey, it's the next day. Now we get to do the more fun part, is actually install the new stuff. I think I'm going to start in the front by the power steering pump. Even though I just said we're going to install some stuff, I try one more thing to take off is this little angle, this little tube guy. There's a 10 mil down there. Take that guy off so we can pull this little port off. Pull that little guy off and it will leak some more. Then this guy is going to go in its place. That's why it has that little spot for a bolt for a 10 mil that will screw into it. Make sure we lube our little O-ring first. Anytime you have a rubber O-ring, you want to lube it up so you don't want it going dry, because then you risk folding it over and busting it, cracking it, splitting it in two. You don't want that because you want this to seal. But before you put it in there, make sure the old O-ring is out. Mine stayed in the housing. It didn't come off with my tube. We don't want to double O-ring it. Once you put the port in, put the 10 mil back in and just snug it up. It doesn't have to be super duper tight. Just snug. Okay, next we're going to work on this port. So take the bolt back out if you put it in. And at the end of your high pressure line, which is the shiny line, should be this fitting. Has a little crush washer on it. Take it off. Okay, make sure you have your little crush washer and the fatter end goes into the pump. Then with a 19 millimeter, you want to snug that port. Not like super tight, but just make sure it's not going to come off and spray over the place. Now that my 2 ports are on, I'm going to start running these lines to the back. I got to figure out my path. More likely it's probably going to go the same path as the other lines. So let's try it out. I'll let you know what I do when I get there. But I'm going to start with the high pressure line, and the side that you had that fitting on, that goes to the pump. But this side goes to the power steering rack. So you want to feed this in to the back first. This goes head first. Okay, I got my high pressure line on. I used the, was it like a 35-degree angle at the pump, and I have it going the same way that the old line goes. Down the side, above the little subframe base underneath the transmission. And where it goes into the rack and pinion, you go to the bottom one, which I have it screwed all the way in, but there's still a lot of thread left. I don't know if it's supposed to be like that or it's supposed to be flush, because I have it as far as it'll go. So I guess I'll find out when I start it up and see if fluid gushes like a geyser all over the place. And I also have the 90-degree elbow going to this, which I have a feeling it was designed to go the other way, because that side has the Chase Base tag label. You'd think you'd want it over here where people can see it, but that just felt more natural for the bend of it. Felt a lot better this way. I tried to do it the other way first and just the angle wasn't enough. So let's try it the other one. The low pressure, I'm going to try to put the 90 degree on the rack and pinion side and the 45 on the reservoir side. Okay, I got the low pressure in, had the same thing where this doesn't thread all the way. Like I said, I hope that's supposed to be like that. Find out later when I start the car. I have it running along the same route as the other hose, so that's pretty simple. And this is a 18 millimeter. That's 19, that's 18. Like I said, I have it running the same way with the other line. So for now, I got to throw in the actual reservoir itself and the drain line. Okay, I got my drain line on the big fat fitting on the side of the power steering pump. I did end up taking that little plug back out, putting the line on it, then screwing it back in because I didn't really have enough room to get the angle right. I was afraid I was going to cross thread that. So I threaded it on there first, then put it back on. Also, that line is 1 inch. Now we can put the reservoir, the pretty part, on itself. I went ahead and I put the bracket on. First, I'm going to hook up the lines to the bottom, then I will mount it to the strut towel.
One eternity later.
Hey, it's like a week later. Yeah, it just ended up taking a lot longer than I was expecting. And it's not because of the power steering kit itself. I noticed that the drain line was hitting the frame well. So I messaged Chase Bays about it because I thought there was something wrong with the line itself. And they told me to look at my motor mounts. Like visually, my motor mounts looked fine. Like looking at it and shaking the engine, had no shake to it. Nothing weird, nothing out of ordinary. Until I unbolted the bottom and jacked it up until I was able to even tell that they were busted. This is my driver's side. The passenger side seemed to be okay. So I bought some other OEM style motor mounts, but that's when I realized how much of a pain in the ass it is to take the motor mounts out. It literally took me like 4 days to get the mounts out. I had to use a ton of tools. I even bought a few special tools. What I ended up doing at the end is taking all this side apart. Took the AC compressor away. I didn't open it up or discharge it or anything. Took that head off, which is a big pain in the ass. Took the intake off until I was finally able to get to that bolt. Even then it was kind of a pain because no matter what I did, it wanted to strip. But since it was such a big pain and it took me a few days, I didn't want to put the OEM style back in. So I got some Z1 solid mounts that are replaceable and rebuildable to go back in instead. So I ended up spending a few extra $100 on the whole motor mount fiasco. But the guy I emailed at Chase Base, he called it. I didn't kind of believe him at first because the mounts looked fine visually and even physically when I shook the engine around. But he was right. But really all I have to do is service it, put some fluid in it, bleed it and all that stuff and put everything else back together. Now we can service it. We need to put some fluid in it. Chase Bays recommended full synthetic Valvoline ATF. So I'm gonna put that in it. And don't be like me and accidentally overfill the shit out of it. It is recommended to only fill it halfway up, so always screw that up. So I'm probably gonna make a mess in a minute. But to blade it, you want your front wheel still off the ground. I have my oil pan underneath it to catch any fluid that boils over or comes over. And with the car off, you want to go to lock a few times, like 4 or 5 times. Probably gonna hear some weird gurgling noises. That's you pushing all the excess air through the lines and out the top. So that's normal. That's what we want to get rid of. And after you've done like 4 or 5 full rotations, is a good point to check all your fittings, all your lines. Make sure nothing is leaking. Got some fluid. Once you've discovered that there's no leaky bits hitting on your floor, Next we're going to do same thing but with the car running, that we can get that pump moving. So it's probably going to get loud in here. After you start it, let it idle for like 3 to 5 minutes. Make sure nothing's leaking, nothing's gushing. It probably will smoke a little, just burning off all those dirty handprints and stuff. After you let it idle, then go to lock the lock again for like 4 or 5 times. You also want to keep an eye on the reservoir, make sure it doesn't get drained too low. You still want to keep it about halfway-ish. Next, you gotta put the car back on the ground. Then you can probably guess what you have to do then. Do it a few more times. Full lock. Left to right, left to right, left to right. Like 4 or 5 times on the ground. Everything's good so far. It stopped making all those swooshing, gurgling noises. But when that's done, now I'm gonna put my cap back on and I'm gonna drive it for about 15 to 20 minutes. Also, make sure that this is still full. Hey, I'm back from my test drive. Everything went smoothly, no issues. After you do your 15 to 20 minute test drive, it's recommended to let it sit for about an hour. Once it's sit, double check your fluid, make sure it's still halfway. If it is, you should be good to go. It had no weird whining, no ratcheting, didn't feel funny, it felt nice and smooth, so everything is good. While I was waiting that hour, I put the bumper on and cleaned her up a little bit. Yeah, now she's nice and shiny new. I won't really get the full benefits of the power steering until I do a drift event and see if I still get the aeration, see if it bubbles up, which it shouldn't. Should be fine, should be good. Which my next drift event is gonna be at Talladega with Import Alliance. So this would be a fun one. I've never been to Dega. So I'm gonna take the Z. But I'm afraid I think it might just be like a parking lot drift. So nothing fancy. I don't think we're going on a track or anything. So lame. But if you're planning on doing this mod, I hope it helps you out, because I couldn't find very information about placement and all that stuff for this kit. So hopefully it makes it easier for you. And that is it for this video. I hope you like it, hope you got something out of it. If you did, hit the subscribe button and the little bell button, and maybe even hit the like button. And I will see you in the next one. Peace.
We can stay